Thank you for staying with us. Aside from the increase in cost of transportation, food, and basic entities, Nigerians are faced with yet another challenge: excess bank charges. In 2019, the Central Bank of Nigeria approved some bank charges, which are electronic fund transfer, ATM withdrawal charges, card charges, amongst others. The Apex Bank later increased the value-added tax from 5% to 7.5%. Customers have now complained of further deductions from the banks, which affects their standard of living. The House of Representatives has now asked for a review of these charges. They noted that such increase in the other fees should be done with the consent of the customers, as stipulated in the Central Bank and Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria guideline. Well, joining us in our Abuja studio is a policy analyst and executive director, FAME Foundation, Aderonke Ogunleye Bello. Aderonke, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today.
Good morning.
Now, I am certain that if you ask any Nigerian about this bank charges, they will go all the way ranting about how it is affecting them. And some have even gone to the extent of withdrawing their monies from some banks as a result of these charges. But talk to us from your point of view. How or what do you make of these charges? Is it justified or not?
I think it's justified. It's about time that someone talk about this. It's about time, the banking industry is quite big, and if everyone keeps complaining, and who exactly do you want to complain to? Who exactly do you want to cry to? I've seen a couple of people complain on social media, and some popular tweets, especially on Twitter now, for example, people had to go to mention some banks under some popular or trending tweets for some banks to react and all of that. But who exactly is going to summon them? How will they get disciplined and all that? So I think it's a good idea that the House of Representative members are doing this. It's quite justified, and I hope something good comes out of it at the end of the day.
All right, but if we look at this critically, Nigeria is not the only country with the banking system and banking services. When we talk about these charges or indiscriminate charges in Nigeria, is it peculiar to Nigeria, or that is what is found around the world?
I don't think it's peculiar to Nigeria, if you ask me. But there should be limit to everything. If there are going to be bank charges, and you don't have to take almost all their money, you don't have to just be frivolous or just being so unfair in making decisions because you think people are banking with you, it's your bank, you have you have to make the decision. So I think that if they have we have to pay bank charges, sometimes they have to also, pay some bills as well, maintain whatever they have to do in the banks, offset some bills. But if it is being, looking at it now as if you're extorting people, there should be limitations to everything. There should be limits. If it's 10 naira, you're transferring like 300 naira or 1,000 naira, and you have to take 10 naira from that, you have to take 25 naira from that, multiply by, what of someone whose account balance is just 700 naira and he needs to take out like that 700 naira or 680 naira from it? So I'm thinking that looking at the fact that other countries, they charge as well, I believe so, but there should be limit to it. It should not be unfair. It should not be exorbitant. They should take it easy with Nigerians. The charges are high, and I agree with the House of Rep member with what they're doing, members with what they're doing, that the charges are high, and they need to do something like ASAP for people, because the economy is not easy right now. It's not easy at all. It's difficult. Things are difficult for people, and the last thing we want right now is for unnecessary charges to be taken from people's accounts.
Now, the banks might come out to say that they have reasons why they are making these charges, and perhaps Nigerians do not really understand what these charges are meant for. Do you think they haven't done enough with regards to educating Nigerians with regards to why they are making some of these charges and what it is they are using it for?
Yeah, they could do better, because when you debit money, we get to receive SMS or emails, alerts, informing you that you have been debited or credited. So why not use that that medium as well to inform your people? You have your number, you have all the mobile number, contacts of your customers, you have their email addresses. So the bank should do better by communicating, with their customers. You don't just send messages only when there's going to be account to be debited or credited, or when your bank will be closed. They can do better by communicating using the same medium of alerting us of transaction to also let us know that, okay, there will be charges. We're going to increase or decrease our charges, and this is the reason why we are doing it, for customers to know. But who are we going to cry out to? Who will Nigerians talk to about? Who will they complain to? Which measures, or how would they go about it is now the question. We have some agencies that have been put in place by government to also checkmate this exercise. But the banks can do better by communicating, by letting the people know why you are taking our money. Why are you taking my money? The money I kept, the money that is meant for something, or maybe my savings or something like that. So they should communicate, use the same medium they are using to communicate to us about the transactions that have taken place. Use the same medium to do the same thing by letting us know why you're taking our money, why the charges, and what you're doing with the charges.
All right. We certainly, Nigerians would like to support you in that regard, to get to know the information regarding what those deductions, how they are used, and so on. Now, just yesterday, there was the concern regarding charges around POS agents or POS services generally, and there is also the concern on the impact of these charges on the financial inclusion drive by government. I wonder how this is going to discourage people from getting into the banking net. Can you talk to us from that window?
Please, can you take that again?
I am asking, how does this impact the financial inclusion drive by government? Recall that the Central Bank of Nigeria, the NDIC, the Ministry of Finance have been working towards widening the gap of people who are unbanked so that they can bring them into the banking net. How does this charges discourage people from owning bank accounts?
I don't think we don't have a choice. Yes, you can get discouraged and all that, but monies are meant to be spent. Transactions are meant to be, made and all that. So people can get discouraged, but they don't have a choice. They still have to go ahead with transactions. They still have to go ahead to do whatever they have to do with their money kept in the bank, if I get it correctly.
No, the question I asked is, will these deductions discourage people from owning bank accounts and all of that? That's the question directly.
On the long run, it will discourage people, especially people that are low-income earners. It can be demoralizing.
Right. Earlier, you've been asking about who would Nigerians run to, who would they cry to. Now we are seeing some reaction from the House of Representatives, which you said is justified. So what would you expect from the House of Reps pushing this forward now, further rather, to ensure that perhaps Nigerians get some level of justice and succor in a critical time such as this, and can bring the bank to book such that they do not enforce or did not go on with this indiscriminate bank charges that we have seen in recent times?
Yeah, they have been given 3 weeks ultimatum to come out with their investigation, and I hope that is enough for them, looking at the fact that some of these members also belong to other committees where they are committed to do other things. But 3 weeks, I think, is quite good enough for them to get their findings correctly. And I want to commend them, like I said earlier on, for this. It's about time that somebody do something to curb these excesses by the banks, by charging people, frivolously. And the 3 weeks, also I think it's called the banking regulation committee, also banking and currency committee, that is I think is yet to be constituted by the House of Rep. I don't know when they will constitute that committee. And they also have a legislative compliance committee as well that have been given the order to implement whatever is the outcome of that probe. So I hope that in 3 weeks' time, Nigerians will smile again, the poor will be allowed to breathe, and the investigation will be very positive, and the charges will be cut down by 80%, because it is not easy at all, especially for low-income earners, people in the rural communities, and also for students as well, and youth corps members, the youth in general.
All right, as it is now, the removal of subsidy on one hand, the inflation rate, the unification of the exchange rate, cost of running the banks and all of that, of course, these are all the issues that the banks have to contend with. Now, if we have to, because the banks are the ones who interface with the people directly, but do you think that the banks are the ones to blame here? Rather, some would say maybe it should have been government, or maybe it should have been CBN on one hand. I wonder what you say.
Okay, so CBN is the apex bank, as we all know, and they have the right to direct the banks on what to do. They also have their rules, their policies, their guidelines on what the bank charges are. Even before the removal of subsidy, there is a certain rule, the guide and policy on ground on charges that was approved by the CBN for all the banks to operate by. So we need to now look at the fact that with the removal of subsidy, are they supposed to add to the charges or maintain what they've had or reduce it? This is what we should be looking at, because they can't just increase the charges without consulting the CBN or without an approval of the CBN. Now we have a certain, we have bank charges that has been approved by the CBN already, that has been on ground for years, for maybe 1 to 2 or 3 years. That is the normal thing. But now that they're increasing the charges, I read somewhere that they are doing that without approval from the CBN. The banks are going ahead, according to what I read somewhere some days ago, that some of the banks are increasing charges without the approval from the CBN. So we have a rule, we have a policy. There's something that the CBN have approved for the commercial banks to charge customers. So now that there's inflation rate, people are trying to survive and all of that, are they supposed to increase the bank charges or just maintain it the way it has been while everything level up? Then they can now think, okay, maybe after a year or 2 years, when the economy has, is a little bit better and everything is looking to, the stability, then they can now think of increasing their charges. This is not the right time. This is not the right time at all. And I hope the rep members that have been, nominated, that have been selected to go through this investigation, do the right thing ASAP, and help Nigerians so that the poor can breathe, like they say.
Just this morning, we're talking about Association of Bakers and Caterers talking about increasing the cost of bread. They are looking at the devaluation of the naira as well as the removal of fuel subsidy. What if the banks are also looking at their overhead costs, saying that the price of everything that they have to take care of is also high at this point, and so have to spread the cost across their customers? If they are to say that they are removing that, who covers the cost for them?
They should communicate to customers. They should communicate. They should let us know that there's going to be, changes. Dear customers, we are sorry. The way you tell us that you are not opening your banks or something, you are going to be closing or you are not going to be available. Can you just use your medium? The medium I mentioned earlier on, the SMS, email, or whatever, even newspaper adverts, to communicate to customers that please bear with us, it's going to be for a while, or something like that. And again, as the CBN even approved it, as the CBN come out to say anything to them that, okay, because of your overhead cost, you should increase charges. Is there an approval from the Apex Bank? So you don't just make decisions on people's money without asking them. We trusted you, then we kept our money with you in your bank, hoping that, okay, some people get their interest rates and all of that. So why do you have to increase your charges without letting us know what you want to do with the money? This is it. Communication matters, and they can do better by communicating to the customers. And I'm talking about communication that will get to the rural communities, to the grassroots communities, not only the people that have access to social media.
But you know how we are in this country. Whether the bank communicates or not, some Nigerians might just feel that right now is still not the right time to do this. And so they are refusing any form of increment in charges.
Just because a lot of people don't, like I said earlier, that the bank industry is big, the banking industry is really big, and you really cannot have, it's not a place that you can report to one person, to just report like myself to my colleague or to my boss. It's an institution, it's a big institution, and of course I believe there are complaints. There are also medium to complain in CBN as well. But the thing is that we have the FCCPC, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council. They're also there, and I know that some days ago they were going to withdraw some they won a certain set of loan app, something like that, because they were harassing people and all of that. And the harassment was so much that the FCCPC had to step in and, warn them that they're going to take drastic action against them. What if Nigerians also use that agency? Because I'm aware the agency is very strong and they are very effective as well. Maybe if we direct all our complaints to them, if we have millions of complaints to them, maybe they can also do something. By working with the CBN can go to the commercial banks to see how they can support the customers and stop charging us, just taking up money from accounts. You need to go on social media to see how many complaints people are making almost every day on charges, on unnecessary, and just taxing people. You just wake up and money is out of your account. Then you have to take months, weeks for you to be able for the money to reverse. Some will not even go back to your account. So I think that we can use that FCCPC to also complain, to Lagos. Nigerians should just go en masse and complain to that. Maybe something can be done. But I believe so much in this investigation coming out by the House of Rep member and the members, and I hope that it will work. At the end of the day, it will be worth it, and everyone will smile.
All right, Nigerians will certainly look forward to that smile if it turns out that way. Now, fintechs using POS or point of sale services, even including banks, the use of POS has, if you compare the charges that we are talking about here, the use of POS charges even more than the banks themselves when you're dealing or engaging directly with the banks. And you see more people are now using POS because of availability of cash, liquid cash. So how does this compound the situation that we're talking about right now?
See, I think POS, I use POS as well. POS is convenient. It's very convenient, and well, I don't know. It depends on everybody's preferences. Sometimes you may decide to go to the bank and wait till to go on the queue, or to go to use the ATM machine to withdraw money and all that. But because the POS is available, like you said, it's easier. So it depends on the urgency and depends on the volume of money you want to withdraw as well. If you, I need to take 5K and I need to take another taxi of 2,000 naira to where the POS machine is, when a POS is right there in the market and you just 100 naira, I can get my 5,000 naira and move on. So it's more of a convenient thing, and it is easy. But POS are just little, small business owners and all that, compared to financial institutions that take, let's say, 10 naira from transaction from over 1 million persons per day. Can you look at that? Compared to a POS person that could get like 50 naira, 50 people per day with their 100 naira and go home and all of that. Don't forget, they also have their overhead costs too. They have to attend to other things as well, So POS is convenient, and I think it's convenient.
Yeah. But Aderonke, if we're looking at customer by customer basis, if you're looking at that, of course, the charges with the POS is even more than the charges from the banks. Because the issue there is that we're looking at each customer, the experience of each customer. That's what we're looking at here, not necessarily how much is collated at the end of the day.
Like I still said, that is convenient. It's if you say the customer, your experience that you're in the market. For example, I just gave you an illustration, or you are on the street to get something fast, and the POS guys are all over the place. And you know that you don't just see POS machine anywhere. They have to be in secured outlet. They have to be in a place that is secured and all that. And it's not usually in the market or something. Or even if it's in the market, there won't be cash in it, or it's not working, or there's one concern or another. Then there's just a POS guy right down the road where you will just walk in less than 1 minute to get your cash. I think it's easier, just convenience. So I think it's a good thing for us, for the banking system. But you can't compare the POS guys to the banks. The banks are big; they are the big boys. POS are just some guys that are, it's just people that are trying to survive, doing their own little business, trying to make little money out of it. So you can't compare a bank that is getting 10 naira on each charge from over 2 million people per day, compared to someone with just 100 naira with 100 people or 80 people per day. Some don't even get up to 50 people per day, because now that business is competitive. Don't forget that it's competitive now.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, it seems you still didn't get the perspective I was coming from, because the issue there is, if it is convenient or more convenient from what you're saying to use a POS service by the roadside, but they charge you more, does the convenience justify the charge that the POS is laying or putting or imposing on each of the customer that he deals with?
For now, Nigerians are not complaining. I've not heard anyone complain about POS charges yet. Maybe if people start complaining, then the banks will start looking at it, or they will be run out of business. But for now, looking at, if you ask me about other people's experience, I've not heard anybody complain about charges from the POS guys. So I don't think people are having bad experiences with them, except some. I don't know how true the news. I don't know how true this is or not. So please don't quote me that some people in Lagos, some association of POS owners said they were going to have fixed rates or fixed price for their charges on each withdrawal and all that. But I think that was thrown out. I really don't know if that is true. But if that is true, then they should not give those guys such power to have fixed rate on withdrawal. It has to be flexible.
Yeah, recall that during the Naira redesign, in fact, there was an order by the Central Bank of Nigeria to clamp down or arrest any POS agent that charges beyond, and above the accepted standard or accepted benchmark, as the case may be. We had all of those.
Right. Yeah, because I guess what my colleague is trying to say is, if the POS is charging an amount that is higher than what we get in the banks, should Nigerians necessarily complain? Or is this more of a matter of trusting the financial institution? Because the CBN or the financial institution have been in the news for some time now with regards to their demanding social media handles, talking about email addresses. So is this really a matter of the charge or a matter of trust?
Okay, so now I get what you're trying to say. So it's a matter of trust, and you know why? I have my money with the bank. You don't have your money with the POS. POS guy is just providing you a service of withdrawal. You're taking your money. They don't have their money with you. You're just going there to ease your maybe movements and all, because of convenience, like I said earlier. So it's not that you cannot compare the POS business owners to the bank, that you have your millions or your savings, your life savings and all of that, charging you again, because they still invest this money. From the money they have, your money in the bank is being invested, and they are also making returns. But POS guys are just the guys that you go to withdraw your money. They don't have your money with you. So if you ask me, yes, it's a matter of trust. So I would rather complain to a bank. I'd rather complain about a bank treating me badly than a POS guy treating me badly. Because if you go to a POS guy to withdraw money and he didn't give you, you go to another person. But your money that is with the bank, okay, maybe along the line you can withdraw it and take it to another bank. And if you have the same experience, will you be moving from one bank to another? But for POS guys, if you don't do me well, yeah, so it's a matter of trust. So I have to face you because I have my money with you. But POS guy, I don't have my money with you. I just want to get my money out and I move. So they are not the same thing. I don't think they are the same. They are not the same thing at all.
Right. It's basically a matter of trust. Well, we have to leave the conversation here now. Aderonke Ogunlaye Bello, a policy analyst and executive director, Fame Foundation. Thank you for your time on the program.